humanity's strongest soldier, humanity's strongest soldier. In a world where titans roam freely, where humanity is caged within towering walls, there exists one man who has turned the tide of battle again and again. To his allies, he is a shield. To his enemies, he is death itself. To the people, he is a legend, humanity's strongest soldier. His name is Levi Ackerman. Levi Ackerman is one of the most fascinating characters in Attack on Titan, not only because of his unmatched combat skills, but because of the layers beneath his stoic exterior. He is not the loudest, not the most expressive, and not someone who seeks glory, yet his presence changes the course of battles and the fate of those around him. In the brutal world of Attack on Titan, characters often fall into two categories, those broken by trauma and those hardened by it. Levi fits neither perfectly. He has endured more loss than most, but instead of breaking or becoming cold and detached, he has found a way to keep fighting while holding on however tightly to his humanity. This duality is what makes him stand out. He is both ruthless and compassionate. He is a killer who values life. He is deeply disciplined, yet shaped by chaos. And perhaps most importantly, he is someone who has chosen who he wants to be, despite a past that could have led him anywhere. Before we can understand his skill, leadership, or philosophy, we must understand where Levi came from, the darkness that shaped him into the soldier and man he became, born in darkness. Levi's story begins far below the shining streets of the capital, in a place few ever see, and even fewer survive the underground city. The underground is not merely a poor neighborhood, it is a forgotten underbelly of society, a network of tunnels and shadowed streets built beneath the surface, where sunlight is rare and fresh air is a luxury. Those who live there are not citizens in the true sense, they are the discarded, the criminals, the sick, and the unwanted. The government ignores them, and the military police rarely set foot there unless absolutely necessary. Kushal Ackerman, a mother's struggle. Levi's mother, Kushal Ackerman, was one of the many trapped in this world. She worked as a prostitute to survive, a choice made from necessity, not desire. In the underground, moral judgment doesn't hold weight, survival does. Kushal lived in a small, dimly lit room, raising Levi in conditions that would kill most infants. Her death when Levi was still very young was not a dramatic tragedy in the eyes of the world. It was a quiet, unnoticed end, one more casualty of a place that swallowed people whole. But for Levi, it was the first great loss, and it left him utterly alone. Kenny Ackerman, a ruthless guardian. Enter Kenny Ackerman, Kushal's brother, and one of the most dangerous men in the underground. Kenny did not come to Levi out of love or even family obligation. His arrival was almost an afterthought, a decision driven by curiosity, and perhaps a sliver of familial instinct. But Kenny was no nurturing parent. He raised Levi by teaching him how to survive in the most literal sense, feeding him, training him, and showing him how to wield knives with lethal precision. Kenny's philosophy was brutally simple. The world is cruel, and only the strong survive. Compassion was a luxury for the dead. He didn't tell Levi fairy tales or give him moral lessons. He gave him weapons and showed him how to read a man's intentions before they struck. For many children, such an upbringing would destroy any capacity for empathy. It would harden them into predators, replicating the cruelty they experienced. Yet Levi even then absorbed Kenny's lessons in skill without fully absorbing his cynicism. The psychology of the underground. Growing up in the underground was an education in human desperation. Levi learned quickly that people lie to survive. They cheat, steal, betray, not necessarily because they are evil, but because they are trapped. The underground bred a kind of moral flexibility where survival outweighed honor. Psychologically, this environment forged two key aspects of Levi's personality: hyper-awareness. Levi developed an acute sense of his surroundings. In a place where danger could emerge from any corner, he learned to read micro-expressions, footsteps, even shifts in the air. This skill later became crucial in combat against titans and human enemies alike. Emotional guarding. When every bond can be broken by hunger or fear, you learn not to form bonds lightly. Levi became selective with his trust, a trait that persisted throughout his life. Kenny's departure. Kenny eventually left Levi without warning, vanishing as suddenly as he appeared. This abandonment could have broken Levi entirely, but instead it marked the moment he truly learned self-reliance. By the time he began interacting with the surface world, Levi already had the physical abilities of a trained killer, the mental reflexes of a survivor, and the emotional resilience to function without support. Joining the surface world. Levi's transition from the underground to the surface was not driven by idealism. Initially, he lived as a thug for hire, feared in the streets for his speed and deadliness. But fate and Erwin Smith would change the course of his life. The Scout Regiment offered something unexpected, not just a paycheck but a cause. For the first time, Levi had a mission greater than his own survival. And this is where the transformation began, from killer to protector, from survivor to leader. Levi Ackerman's reputation as humanity's strongest soldier is not an exaggeration or propaganda, it is a measurable truth within the world of Attack on Titan. His physical capabilities, tactical thinking, and ability to adapt in battle put him in a category of his own. But what makes Levi so remarkable is that his skill isn't just about raw talent. is the product of his upbringing, his discipline, and his constant refinement of technique. Even with the Ackerman bloodline's combat instincts, Levi's mastery comes from an obsessive dedication to improvement. Levi is not the tallest soldier, nor does he possess the imposing physique of some of his peers. Standing at 160 centimeters, he is small by comparison, yet this seemingly disadvantaged stature actually becomes a key strength. Speed. Levi's small frame gives him unmatched maneuverability in the air while using omnidirectional mobility (ODM) gear. He can change direction instantly, close gaps faster than opponents can react, and maintain speed without losing precision. In Titan combat, where a fraction of a second can mean the difference between life and death, this speed is lethal. Precision. While most soldiers slash at a Titan's nape in a single pass, Levi's strikes are surgical. His blows cut exactly where they need to, with just enough force to sever without wasting motion. This is not wild swinging, it's calculated execution. Endurance. Years of life in the underground, malnutrition, constant movement, and physical hardship forged an endurance that allows Levi to keep fighting when others collapse. During extended battles, such as the mission against the Beast Titan, Levi fights at full strength far longer than his peers. The mind as a weapon. Levi's mental approach to battle is as refined as his physical one. Situational awareness. Levi sees the battlefield as a three-dimensional map. He is constantly calculating movement paths, predicting enemy reactions, and adjusting in real time. This is why he is able to fight not just Titans, but also skilled human opponents like Kenny's squad with such efficiency. Adaptability. No plan survives contact with the enemy. Levi doesn't cling to a strategy when it fails, he shifts instantly. Against the female Titan, when direct confrontation proved ineffective, he adjusted to use Erwin's capture plan. Against Zeke, he turned the terrain and Zeke's overconfidence into weapons. Risk assessment. Levi is willing to take extreme risks, but only when the payoff outweighs the danger. This balance of caution and boldness is rare in Attack on Titan, where characters often lean heavily toward one side. Training and discipline. Levi's greatness isn't just inherited. Even after becoming the best, he trains relentlessly. He hones his blade work, maintains his gear personally, and studies battle reports. His mindset is simple. Complacency gets you killed. Trauma as foundation. From the moment of his birth, Levi's life has been defined by scarcity and danger. His mother's death taught him that people can be taken away without warning. Kenny's brutal teachings reinforced that survival depends on one's own skill, not on the kindness of others. Life in the underground showed him that morality bends under desperation. This cocktail of experiences forged a core assumption in Levi's mind. The world is fundamentally unsafe. Psychologically, this belief creates a permanent state of readiness. Levi never fully relaxes, even in seemingly secure environments. His vigilance is not paranoia, it is a rational response to a lifetime of threats. This is why he notices details others overlook and reacts to danger faster than anyone else. Emotional guarding. Levi's stoic demeanor is not an act, it is self-preservation. In his early life, the people he cared about either died or left. Opening himself up meant opening himself to loss. Over time, he learned to build barriers, allowing only a select few past them. When Levi does form bonds, they are deep and lasting. This is why the deaths of his squad in the female Titan arc hit so hard, not because he loses soldiers. Every soldier loses comrades in this world, but because he loses people he let into his guarded circle. His emotional restraint also plays a role in his leadership. Levi understands that a leader who crumbles emotionally in front of his soldiers can undermine morale. Instead, he processes grief privately, presenting an image of unwavering control. Cleanliness as control. Levi's obsession with cleanliness is often played for humor, but it is rooted in something far more profound, the need for control in a chaotic world. Growing up in the filth of the underground surrounded by disease and squalor, Levi's environment was a daily reminder of decay. Maintaining cleanliness is his way of reclaiming a sense of order. From a psychological perspective, this habit serves multiple purposes. Anxiety management. Cleaning allows him to focus on something tangible and controllable. Symbolic purity. In a world drenched in blood, maintaining physical cleanliness is a quiet rebellion against the dirt and corruption of his origins. Discipline reinforcement. Attention to detail in small matters reinforces precision in larger ones, including battle. Survivor's guilt. Levi's long life in a short-lived profession means he has outlived most of the people he has ever fought beside. He carries each of these deaths with him, not as an open wound, but as a quiet weight that fuels his resolve. His decision-making often reflects this guilt. He is quick to put himself in danger if it means sparing a subordinate. He avoids unnecessary risks that could cost more lives, even if it means passing on opportunities for victory. This guilt doesn't paralyze him, it drives him. Where some people become risk-averse after trauma, Levi remains aggressive in combat but surgical in execution, ensuring his actions have purpose. Pragmatism over idealism. Levi does not believe in perfect justice or moral purity. His moral compass is rooted in practicality. What keeps people alive, what ends the threat, what must be done. This pragmatism is why he supports Erwin's morally grey decisions, why he can kill without hesitation, and why he does not indulge in vengeance for its own sake. Yet, there is a line Levi will not cross: unnecessary cruelty. He is willing to kill, but not to harm for pleasure. He is willing to use fear, but not to torture for satisfaction. Channeling rage. Levi's rage is not explosive, it's concentrated. When he charges Zeke after the rock barrage, he doesn't scream or lose himself. Instead, his anger becomes precision, every movement calculated for maximum impact. This controlled rage is more dangerous than raw fury because it remains strategic. From a psychological standpoint, this is an example of affect regulation, the ability to feel intense emotion without letting it dictate your actions. For Levi, this is a learned skill, honed through years of suppressing visible fear or grief in high-stakes situations. Why Levi inspires. The soldiers under Levi's command don't just follow him because he's strong, they follow him because they know he won't waste their lives. He embodies the values soldiers crave in a leader: competence, courage, and the willingness to lead from the front. Psychologically, Levi projects what psychologists call earned authority. He doesn't demand respect, he earns it through action, consistency, and shared hardship. This kind of leadership creates loyalty that outlives the battlefield. The Ackerman factor. The name Ackerman carries a specific weight in the Attack on Titan universe. It is not just a family name, it is a genetic legacy tied to the power of the Eldian Empire's rulers. Ackermans were once the king's chosen guardians, warriors who could harness bursts of extraordinary strength and heightened awareness. Levi Ackerman is one of the most powerful manifestations of this legacy, but unlike some others in his bloodline, his defining strength is not just having the Ackerman power, it's how he masters it. The nature of the Ackerman power. The Ackerman ability manifests as a sudden awakening, often in moments of extreme stress or danger. In that instant, the body accesses its full combat potential, reflexes sharpen, perception accelerates, and raw strength multiplies. For most people, this would feel supernatural. For an Ackerman, it's instinctive. The mind and body work in perfect harmony, executing complex maneuvers without conscious planning. Discipline over instinct. Many Ackermans lean into the sheer force of their abilities, overpowering opponents through raw physicality. Levi, however, tempers that instinct with years of refined technique. Even in his most aggressive fights, his movements are precise and calculated. He doesn't swing wildly, he executes. This control is not just a combat advantage, it's a psychological safeguard. The Ackerman instinct can be overwhelming, pushing its bearer into relentless aggression. Levi's ability to feel that instinct without losing himself is rare. The psychological edge. Where Mikasa sometimes hesitates when emotions cloud her focus, Levi compartmentalizes not by ignoring his feelings, but by delaying their influence until after the fight. This is the same mental separation elite soldiers in our world train for, but Levi learned it through survival rather than instruction. This balance of Ackerman instinct and human discipline is why he stands at the peak of his bloodline. Others may match him in bursts, but over the course of a sustained campaign, Levi's control and focus make him unparalleled. Leadership in the world of Attack on Titan is not about speeches or politics, it's about surviving impossible odds while keeping your squad alive for just one more battle. Levi Ackerman's leadership style is unlike that of any other commander in the series, and it's shaped by a lifetime of hardship, distrust, and precise observation. The reluctant leader. Levi was never groomed to be a leader. He didn't come from a respected military family, nor did he seek out a position of authority. His early life in the underground taught him how to survive alone, not how to guide others. But when Erwin Smith brings him into the Survey Corps, Levi quickly rises through the ranks, not because he craves command, but because his competence is undeniable. Other soldiers follow him because he delivers results, and in a world where death is common, results mean survival. This creates an interesting dynamic. Levi never demands respect through hierarchy. He earns it through performance. Soldiers know that if they follow Levi, their chances of surviving skyrocket. Leading by example. One of Levi's greatest strengths as a leader is that he never asks others to do what he wouldn't do himself. When the time comes for dangerous missions, Levi is always on the front line. This is partly due to his skill. He's the most effective fighter against Titans, but also because he understands the psychological effect it has on his squad. In Attack on Titan, morale is fragile. Soldiers are constantly reminded that their lives can end in seconds. Watching their leader fight alongside them reinforces their will to push forward. From a psychological standpoint, this is participative leadership, a style where the leader works as part of the team, showing solidarity rather than issuing distant orders. For Levi, it's not about charisma, it's about credibility. Emotional control under pressure. Levi's calm demeanor in combat is one of his most defining traits. In battle, panic spreads faster than fire. One soldier screaming can disrupt an entire formation. Levi's unshakable composure acts as an anchor for those around him. But this doesn't mean Levi feels nothing. His calm is the result of years of mental conditioning. As a child surviving in the underground, emotional outbursts could get you killed. Levi learned to compartmentalize fear, grief, and even anger until the battle was over. This emotional regulation allows him to process events later away from the battlefield, often in solitude. Tough love and harsh honesty. Levi is notorious for his bluntness. He doesn't sugarcoat bad news, and he rarely offers comfort in the traditional sense. When Aaron is struggling with self-doubt, Levi doesn't coddle him. He tells him that in the end, he has to make decisions and live with the consequences. This approach might seem cold, but it's rooted in realism. Levi understands that in war, indecision kills more than enemy blades. He forces his soldiers to confront reality because he knows false hope is deadlier than fear. From a psychological perspective, this is pragmatic mentorship. Levi teaches through challenge, pushing people to toughen their resolve so they can survive what's coming. The weight of command. Every leader in Attack on Titan lives with the deaths of their soldiers, but Levi's burden is heavier because his circle of trust is so small. Losing even one squad member is deeply personal for him. Unlike commanders who distance themselves emotionally to cope, Levi carries those losses with him. Petra's death visibly wounds him. The slaughter during Erwin's charge against the Beast Titan becomes a permanent scar, but Levi does not let grief paralyze him. He transforms it into focus. Each loss is a reminder of why he fights, not for glory, but to prevent the next one. The dark side of Levi's leadership. No leader is without flaws. Levi's guarded nature can sometimes create emotional distance, leaving soldiers unsure of how much he values them. His bluntness, while effective for decision-making, can alienate those who need emotional reassurance. Additionally, his willingness to take on impossible missions himself can put him in unnecessary danger, risking the loss of humanity's most skilled soldier. But these flaws are the flip side of his strengths, and in the brutal reality of Attack on Titan, they are a trade-off his soldiers are willing to accept. Levi Ackerman's legacy in Attack on Titan is more than just a record of kills or victories. It's the story of a man who mastered the art of survival without surrendering his humanity. He is proof that strength is not measured by how hard you hit, but by how many times you can stand back up after the world has tried to break you. Every scar on his body tells a story of someone he fought for. Every loss, a reminder of the cost of protecting what matters. In a world where hope is fragile and trust is rare, Levi is the embodiment of resilience, the unshakable anchor in the storm. He is not a hero in the traditional sense. He is something rarer. A man who lived fully in a world that gave him every reason not to. Levi Ackerman, humanity's strongest soldier, humanity's truest survivor. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.